Gill. I'll just set the scene because thank you for coming in to give your testimony. But so the scene is you first came to Reading Vineyard Church in the summer of 2008,
Yep.
and I noticed you your first time because you were on crutches. Your sister had brought you along. Could you just tell everyone why you were on crutches? What was the problem?
Well, basically, I was at work as a greenkeeper and got a bit lazy on the truck one day, hung my leg over the side and caught the tyre and got pulled off and, yeah, essentially got run over whilst being on the truck.
Yeah,
It takes skill.
it does take skill. But in terms of what it did to your leg, could you just tell people actually what happened on the leg?
Yeah, it snapped my leg clean in half, with one of the bones sticking out of my leg. Yeah.
So that was the fibia and tibia.
Yep.
Both
Both the bones in my lower leg.
sheared in half.
Yep.
So you were taken to hospital.
Yep.
And the next day they operated on your leg. And how did they remedy the situation?
They put a metal pin,
Yeah.
straight down the centre of the big bone. That went from my knee right down through to my ankle and then screwed it in 3 places.
Right. So they screwed it in. So this pin is the length of your
Yeah,
knee
all
to
the way
ankle.
down the centre of the bone.
So they've taken out the marrow.
Yep, no bone marrow.
So no bone marrow. Just this metal pin.
Yep.
Screwed at the ankle and at your knee. But how long were you on crutches for?
I was on crutches for 5 months, I think.
And you came off the crutches.
Came off crutches in December, just after Christmas.
Okay, so we're still talking 2008.
Yeah.
And when you came off them, what was your mobility? And
I couldn't really walk very well. I walked very, very slowly and with a horrific limp.
and so you had some physio, which helped.
Yeah, I got physio eventually.
But so that was kind of from like January, and then we then come up to October 2009.
Yeah.
And what were the problems at October 2009?
In October 2009, I still couldn't really walk very well. I could walk kind of distances, but I was still not very fast, still had quite a limp.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't run, jump, anything. I could only walk at a reasonable pace.
Right.
That's about it.
So your mobility was still severely restricted.
Yeah.
And the pin and screws themselves were also causing problems in the cold.
Yeah, massive problems in the cold. Turns out the metal contracts slightly when it gets cold, so it was pulling on the entire length of my bone. Yeah, every time it got cold. So that was just ridiculously painful.
Right.
All the time. So winters were rubbish.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being maximum pain, if it was cold, what kind of pain level were you
Probably
experiencing?
about 5-6. It was just a constant, really strong ache pain, and trying to move was just worse. That was probably about 7. Just
Right.
excruciatingly painful. Just trying to move around.
In the cold?
Yeah.
So would you say you were essentially disabled
Essentially, yeah, I was.
when it was cold?
Yeah.
Now you also noticed the sound also had an effect.
Yeah,
on your leg.
any strong bass lines, and I could feel every vibration through my leg, which was ridiculously painful. So couldn't go to clubs, couldn't listen to loud music in the car, which I used to.
Yeah.
Couldn't go to a gig ever. Couldn't even walk in the door.
Well, so even in the car radio, stereo.
If you turned it up loud enough, yeah. My
Yeah.
mate used to give me a lift home from work, and he used to blast it out, and I used to have to turn it down.
So on the pain levels, the 1 to 10 again.
Oh, that's probably a good 9-10. It was
that's it.
excruciating. I just burst into tears on regular occasions.
And it wasn't just music.
No, fireworks were pretty bad.
Yeah.
They seemed to affect the pins in my ankle or the squeeze in my ankle more than anything else.
Yeah.
And it genuinely, every bang felt like someone stabbed me in the ankle, which was pretty epic
Yeah.
and bad.
Right. So that was your current situation
Yeah.
as we came to Freshers Fair. So I think that was October 2009, beginning of it. And that was quite a cold day,
Freezing day.
freezing day. So you came in there, and so what were the problems that you were experiencing?
I had quite a bad limp. It took me quite a long time to get into college because it was just so cold. My knee couldn't just gave in.
Yeah.
So I was limping quite badly. And then when I was there, because of the effect of the cold and just general not working very well, I spent most of the day just having to go and sit down in
Yeah.
a corner, which was helpful trying to catch people. But yeah.
You're doing a great job. So now we were doing Healing on the Streets in Freshers' Fair at Reading University. So we were among this little Christian section.
Yep.
Who I think were looking at us.
A little stage.
Somewhat strangely. So we sat you down to pray for you. And did you feel anything?
No. No, at the time I didn't. I was kind of disappointed actually. But yeah. But
we have literally just prayed for you.
Yep.
Now, on this really cold day, and you had to go home.
Yeah.
So you went home and got home and just tell me.
Yeah, well, I walked home just as I normally would, not really thinking, have my headphones in, just kind of ignore the world. Got home and just normally, if I'd walked anywhere, I'd get home and just dive onto the sofa and not move for a while until I had to.
Because of what?
Because my leg would just be in a lot of pain. It would be very stiff, and I'd just kind of be stuck for a while until it kind of warmed up.
Yeah.
Sorted itself out, and walked in, crashed on the sofa, and just went, "Doesn't hurt." What? I just got really generally quite confused, and then kind of just went, "That's really cool," and then everyone ran in, and I completely forgot about it instantly. But it was quite cool then.
And then that evening, you went to the cinema.
Yeah, that evening I went to cinema with friends, which we do a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. And we were mucking about because we're quite a bad house in generally mucking about and running around. As
students do.
Oh yeah. As me and my mate were kind of mucking around, and she ran off to the car, forgetting that I couldn't follow her, and I automatically just ran after her. Took the first couple of steps and then went to pull up, just going, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing? It's going to really hurt." And then went, "Yeah, it's not." And just ran after her. So out of breath when I got to the car. It was unreal because it's incredibly unfit, but the whole lot of us just turned around and stared at me. I was like, I just ran. That's so cool. But yeah, it didn't hurt at all. Didn't feel anything. It was just brilliant.
So literally that was the first time since the accident.
In about a year, over a year.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
And jumping?
Jumping after that, I used to jump around the house just to annoy people. I jumped down the stairs a couple of times just to make a lot of noise. Just go, the guy can do. Annoyed a few people, but it's good fun.
Yeah, I mean that is incredible. That is literally incredible. Now, but you hadn't been to any like big gigs or anything. But in December,
I'd pulled out of going clubbing because it just wasn't worth it anymore. I hadn't been for ages. But in December, Delirious had their farewell gig, and I decided I wasn't going to miss it for whatever reasons. Went along, walked in the door, and just immediately went, "Oh, why did I come? This is going to really hurt." And then just realised that it didn't. And then my mum ran up to me and was like, "Oh no." Because she suddenly walked in, just suddenly went, "Oh no, there's a baseline, I can feel it, that's going to really hurt." And just looked at me and I was like, "I'm absolutely fine, no pain at all." So brilliant gig, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, that is incredible. Doctors told you when the pin was in there that it would always be there, and you would, what did they tell you about coping with the noise and cold?
Yeah, basically they said the pin's permanent, you can, if absolutely necessary, get it taken out after 18 months. But basically it's not deemed necessary most of the time. And when we were still having the checkups that actually the cold was really affecting it, and so was noise, they said it's not a good enough excuse and you're just going to live with it. That's something that you're just going to have to deal with. It's the qualities of the pin.
Yeah. And
every winter, basically for the rest of my life, I was going to be partially disabled just because it was going to be too cold. I wasn't going to be able to do anything, go anywhere. So, yeah.
Now when you were prayed for on that occasion, actually one of the guys praying for you prayed quite specifically for.
Yeah, he said he prayed. He said he didn't like the fact that it was like being messed up in the cold, and he said he prayed for it to turn to bone.
Yeah.
So that obviously I didn't get these problems, and yeah.
Now we don't know whether that has happened or not.
No.
But having chatted it through, what you're saying is, it feels like it's been turned to bone.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Couldn't tell there's anything wrong with my leg at all, other than the fact that I could see scars.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It feels exactly the same as my other leg. No issues at all.
Gill, that's a fantastic testimony. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.